Hello Tubesters, it's Gav. Welcome to another one of my videos. Today we are we're looking at the final reveal of this. It's the Tommy's War Warwickshire Yeomanry, and I have the additional figure which is the Ottoman Turkish infantrymen. I put them there for the Third Battle of Gaza 1917. This is all in conjunction with military modeller Paul and his group build, which there was the three of us, which myself, Paul obviously, and Greg Riley. Greg Riley and Paul are doing Churchill tanks. I can't remember which mark, maybe early, mid, I'm not sure, but anyway, Churchill 1 in 35 scale Tamiya tanks. And I've gone a bit 20 years back in time and done it while I was still riding horses. So in Remembrance, we're going to show you what I've come up with. The Tommy War figure I'm going to read off here is 1 in 32 scale, so is that roughly 54mm. I'm not very good when I just wish they'd put 54mm, I know where I am. Tommy's War do some excellent figures. The Great War in particular, for a section of military history, is one of my main topics, if you want to call it. They're resin figures. There was, I think, the Turkish guy was missing half a strap on his back, and that was missing. Whether it never survived the sculpting, whether the sculptor left it off, whether it never survived the casting process, I've no idea, but it shouldn't really have gone out like that. And there were a couple of blow holes, pinholes in that, but nothing. The strap was annoying. As I say, I don't believe that should have been like that. But the actual couple of blow holes in his, I'm looking over there because that's where it is, in his kit bag, and that were, or his bread bag, whatever you want to call it. There was one quite large one that had to be filled, but it was on the underneath, you couldn't see it. And to be honest with that type of thing, bit of putty in there, sand, and you wouldn't see it wherever it was really. And I do believe it might just be my positioning of the arms, but because it's the hand holding the rifle goes into the arms wrist area, I was having problems trying to get them marrying up, and I had to do a fair bit of filling around one of the arms, but that could have just been me and positioning the rifle. So the Turkish figure was slightly more problematical. The yeomanry figure and the horse itself, you'd have to look back at both videos because I can't remember if there was any. But there was a small bit, obviously there was seam filling, but there might have been a couple of small pinholes on the saddle area if I remember rightly. But all in all, would I buy the figures again, which is the main thing you'd say to yourself. Would I say to anybody, buy the figures, or would I buy them again myself? And I would definitely say yes. I've got no connection to Tommy's War whatsoever. As I say, I've just told you like it is. I had a strap missing, or half a strap missing on the Turkish infantrymen. I'll always give it straight. But I would definitely buy the figures again. In fact, I haven't bought these ones again, but I've got another figure in my to-do box. So thank you very much again, Paul, for putting on the group build. It's with all my type of work, I have so much, as you all know, I have so much going on, figures and kit-wise. It takes me ages to get over the line. I'm a war games, mainly historical war games commission painter, and I've got lots of Saxon artillery pieces and crew to paint, or I am painting at the moment. So I'm all over the place, and things get attention for a while, then they have to be put aside for a bit, and then they get a bit more attention. So it takes a while to get over. A bit like one of my videos, it takes a while to get over the finishing line. But yeah, I really liked the both figures. I bought, as I say, I bought the figures separately, same time at the Telford 2019 Scale Model World Telford. I bought them both off the rack, but without realising they were actually part of a vignette. So the Turkish guy's obviously got his rifle up to the high port, more or less, to meet the trooper. but I liked. What I'm trying to get round to is I liked both poses. They were really nice poses. As I say, there's lots of movement in the Warwickshire Yeomanry sculpt, and you can make that, accentuate that slightly more. As I say, I've put the feed bags right as if they're bouncing up onto the haunches. I don't know what you call that part, but the top area of the horse. I've got that bouncing up. You know, I've got the canteen, which you have to put a separate strap for. You have to make your own straps for the canteen and the respirator case. You know, again, bear that in mind. But I've had both those, obviously, bouncing off his body, so they're not tight in. They look like they're on straps and they're moving about. And you also have to do your own reins as well. I did them with Tamiya tape. It's quite. It's the first time I've done anything like that. It is quite. I didn't bend them over, if I remember rightly. I just cut them thin, and they are quite flexible. You know, if you caught them, they just come apart probably. But it is a display piece. It's going in a cabinet, so it shouldn't be a problem. So yeah, at last. Oh, by the way, everything was painted in either Vallejo acrylic or Andrea acrylic. The base. There's a couple of plaster scalcenic rocks that I made, and some dry seagrass, do they call it? I didn't decide to use my own because they're quite. The static grass is always quite shiny. I didn't particularly want to put a mist of varnish over it, so I thought it was desert conditions or arid conditions. Let's put it that way, and we'll just put some dry seagrass on, and I also just put larger stones in amongst it. I always use silver sand, play pit sand for kids. I use that for basing on everything really. But then I bulk it up, the different size, you go up scales, you go up, I obviously put larger rocks in amongst it. And I use some ballast from the Jarvis Scenics, railway ballast, and I use that and just paint it over it. Right, I've told you all that without ever looking at the figures. It's Gav's videos. Right, let's go down to the bench and we'll have a quick look. Right guys, thanks for joining me at the bench. Here we go. We've got, my wife was kind enough to do a sticky label for the, I can't afford brass plaques and things. I haven't got that type of money, but these suffice until one day I'm a rich guy and I can afford to do all the blingy bits. But this is I will be doing some photographs at the end. But this is our guys. They're a bit shiny because of the lights. Let's see if we can get it down slightly. I mean, you've seen close-ups of most of it before, but I gave the Turkish guy, when I'm doing that type of Middle East or Mediterranean type look, I like to put as if I've done a lot of it, but I put a green base on the flesh, so it gives, and it comes through. If your coats are light enough, it'll come through slightly, and it just makes a nice skin tone. As I say, the Turkish uniforms, well, most Great War uniforms are fairly simplistic, but I've given it, as we said before, the mustard yellow look. They had different types, and I just wanted to break it up. As I said to you guys before, I've given him a green hat rather than that. You could also have that like either the same colour as his bread bag there, or you could have it like the mustard yellow or the green. Really depended on what supplies they got through. The biggest mistake I probably made was I should have, while the figures were both in the raw, so without any paint on but all filled up and everything, I should have then put I've used Magic Sculpt just to do a desert area, and I should have imprinted the the boots and the hooves in that. I mean, it's fairly. I was looking at actual photographs from the Third Battle of Gaza. Obviously, they're all black and white. Most of the ground looked as if it was quite hard and small stones, which is what I've tried to recreate. But I had, obviously, as we all do, when you're putting your figure directly on top of the base, you have that floating look, and you've got to try and, build up around it. So, I mean, in some respects, it looks okay, because it looks like the hoof's digging in, and the shoes raking up the ground around it as he's being pushed back. So, put a bit of, I've got some Gaza pigments, as they call it, from, I believe, AK. I just put that over the boots and a very small bit over the kneecaps, but mainly just over the boots. I'm not trying to fix it. Again, this is going to be a display piece. It's going in a cabinet. But it just put a bit of dust over, just to tie the figure in and over the hooves and the forelocks. I think that's called, is it? The white bits, anyway. Got to start knowing my horses. The problem is you just can't contain all the information that you're expected to remember when you do these type of things. You can't remember them all. But as I say, I'll put some photographs up. Hopefully they'll be okay. But thoroughly enjoyed that. Sometimes when you start a project and we've either all got them unfinished or they're a good idea at the time, it took me a good year to actually get the courage. It was the horse. It was just doing the seams. I'd had such a rotten time trying to do aircraft seams on models and things like that. I thought, what have I done? I bought a horse. It's in 2 halves, and I'm never going to get a chance to make it look any good. So I just kept putting it off. Then it got to the stage where I'd glued the horse together, but it still sat there where I had the courage to fill it. I'd given it one filling, but as you know, you need to put your primer on and see where there's bits lumpy, and then you go back and do a bit more. I should be able to do my motorbike and my car now just by learning on a horse. But yeah, I really enjoyed doing that. It's I've intentionally kept the base flat. The only thing I would have done would have had the horse. I wanted the horse coming in at an angle, but I needed, because of the way the figure was and where he's the Turk figure and putting his rifle up. There was no way it was going to do it. So I've ended up slightly, with the two rocks almost. Yes, they're tying in the figure, I suppose, but they look a bit too placed. But I didn't want the rock behind there under his tail, because I didn't know. Yes, the horse would probably jump rocks, I suppose, but I know they're not particularly big fans of running over great big stones and rocks and stuff. So, but again, I bought these two bases. I've got this and another one, and I really wanted to use them. Again, it all comes down to finances. To go and buy another base, it would have hurt. So. Yeah, the base, by the way, I have got a video out on it. Let me just see. Hopefully the figures stay on, don't drop off. Oakwood Studios, that's it in the UK. That's Oakwood Studios. So, really, really happy how that's turned out. I've got another 50, as I said to you guys, I was going to do a 74mm figure, as figures go, 75mm even. And I just saw these Lakota Sioux warrior mounted figure, and I really fancy doing another mounted figure. So I've got another 54mm figure, which is a Lakota Sioux warrior charging on his Indian pony. So that's going to be done next, and I have got to get a plinth for that, because I'll probably get some type of large round one for that one, and I will do the ground probably. Different stratas of the ground rather than flat. But as I say, on the desert one there, the stretches of ground. Of course, there's dips and hillocks, but a lot of it was actually quite flat. And as I say, that tied in with how I wanted this in the first place. So yeah, painting figure wise, I've got I say the mounted Lakota warrior. And then I've got my bust of the World War II Battle of Britain pilot with the Cocker Spaniel. oh, of course, in the background, at the moment I'm painting up my Mitch's models, Dragoon from British 16th Dragoons, I think. Anyway, or is it 17th? I don't know. But I've got the Dragoon from the American War of Independence, which I'm painting in oils, and I'm working on the flesh up that at the moment. So I'm going to have another go tonight. So that's not that far away from being shown as well. So thank you very much, guys. Please go along and check Military Modeller Paul's out and Greg Riley's out. I'll try and put some links down to their channels, and give them a thumbs up or a comment or something, because they've done a fantastic job on their tanks. I do believe Greg's still got one more reveal, I believe, of his to do, and I think Paul's obviously already done his reveal. Right, ramble, and this isn't even a ramble. So look after yourselves. Hope everything's going well with your projects, and we'll catch each other very soon on another video.